Hello everyone. We're back again with the Connect, Qualify, Commit series of connecting your social soul self. So I just want to do a check in and really to go back and to discuss the things last week. So I have some tips for those who were live last week, or who just may have some questions about how to connect with other people. So the tips that I'm going to give are, so first of all, don't be afraid to do something new. A lot of us have a tendency to be afraid to venture out and do a lot of different things, and in order to connect with others, especially positive people, we're going to have to definitely learn how to get out our comfort zone. So if someone asks you to go out and do something, don't be afraid to do it. Don't even think about it. Just do it. Sometimes we just have to do things instead of thinking about them constantly, which hinder us from being able to explore new things and connecting with good, positive people. Something else is do something that you've never done. Oftentimes, we don't know what to do. Even if we want to get out of our comfort zone, we don't know really what we can do, what things, what we should do. And so one way you can do that is actually create a bucket list. Create a list of things that you want to do before 30, things that you want to do before your 50th birthday, things that you want to do before you get married, because you shouldn't hinder yourself before you get married, or if you decide not to get married. Create a bucket list. Create a list of things that you can do so that you can enjoy life. And if you can't think of any things to do, use Google. Google's a perfect source of things to do. You can Google exciting things to do in North Carolina, or or California, or places to go. Google is a perfect tool. Or even you can do Groupon if you're on a budget. I'm sure all of us are on a budget. So if you have a budget and you want to do something fun, a good source is livingsocial.com or groupon.com. Those are all great places to find resources, and so that you can actually explore new options and enjoy life. So when you do those kind of things, you connect with people that you never met before. You have great experiences, you create memories, and that's what life is about, is creating memories, living life, living a fulfilling life, creating experiences, connecting with yourself and others, and God, of course. And so engage in doing that. Engage in conversation, even if it's at work. Sometimes we try to hinder ourselves in conversation with people, and we really just need to, engage in conversation. We don't have to actually spend time with these people that we work with or we engage with. Just having a conversation, you can learn a lot of things from these people. So engage in conversation with someone you wouldn't actually normally engage in conversation with. So live a purposeful life. I found that if you live on purpose, and I have an outlook for my life, or God has an outlook for my life. When you're living a purposeful life, and you know that there's a plan for your life, you're guaranteed to meet more positive people. And so by living on purpose, and with intentions. So living a purposeful life causes you to live on life intentionally. So everything you do has a purpose to it. So create a bucket list. Smiles create opportunities for people, to speak with you. Sometimes we're walking around with the rest in B face, and so people are not drawn to us. And so if we smile, just smiling along can bring people into our life. And living on purpose and intention, creating your own happiness, you connect with you connect with positive people. It invites people into your life. So being angry all the time and just nagging and complaining and stuff, that doesn't invite other people to your life. So living on purpose, smiling, it invites people into your life. So and don't forget, as we spoke about last week, consider what is good for you, mind, body, and spirit. By establishing expectations and boundaries for your life. By establishing expectations and boundaries for your life, you kind of have more direction for your life. You know who to let in, who not to let in, the things to let in, and things not to let in. If you're trying to get out of those dark places in your life, you have to have direction. So you're seeking God for your direction. Even if you're seeking God, faith without works is dead. So you have to be actively working in establishing those expectations for your life and figuring those things out by even doing the things I mentioned. You can create a list of things that you like to do, or you would like to do, or what would you like to see your life like. All right, so I hope that helped everybody. I hope I wasn't talking too fast, but I kind of wanted to get through that really quickly so that we can move on to the next one. So the next one we have today is connecting with someone special. This could be someone, special in your life, a friend or close friend or a family member or someone you love, someone you've gotten to know, and you consider them to be special. So I'm going to stop to say hello, everybody that's joined. Thank you again for joining, and I hope you enjoy the session because I have a special guest for today. So when you're connecting with someone special, you want to join this one? You ready to join? So here's my guest, Mr. Demetrius. Demetrius Green.
Dang, you pushing it all the way. I ain't that big now.
Oh, shut up. So,
Hey,
let's see. He is so full of himself. So full of himself.
Make sure you
So,
get my angles right.
Do I need to pull it up?
No, you good.
All right. So, hello everybody that's joining us. This is Demetrius Green, my husband, for those who don't know. And he acting like he can't see. He needs his glasses.
I don't have my glasses on.
So, today we're gonna just engage on talking about connecting with someone special. So, if you're interested in connecting with someone special, you have to be able, you have to have had connected with self, God, and put yourself out there. One, because I noticed that a lot of people have engaged in relationships and they're it's not working out for me, but they haven't positioned themselves. So they don't know where to find someone that they can potentially, have a relationship with or be, find someone special with. So the most important thing is engaging with others. Like when you expose yourself to new experiences and people, that creates an opportunity for you to meet new people, and potentially someone special. So staying in that lane and domain, I'm going to tell my story a little bit about how my life was before I had found someone special. So when I found, before I found someone special, so to speak,
I found you.
Yeah, he found me.
That's what the Bible says.
Okay. Anyways. So I was committed to myself then. I had committed to myself. I was no longer even thinking about dating. I was committed to God. I had made up in my mind that I'm tired of running into these no goods, and I'm just going to commit to God and myself. I'm going to, be so caught up in God that, you know how they say you be so caught up in God, it's...
I think the saying is that be so caught up or be so deep in God that the man has to pray something. I'm telling all wrong. You
have to pretty much know God in order to find me. And so he knew God by the time he found me. So I was so caught up in ministry, doing what I needed to day to day, enjoying life, going out places, seeing, different places, enjoying friends and family. And I was just at the point when, right before I met him, I actually could have made a mistake because what I actually... what was going on at that time, because it's like I was allowing my eyes to play with my emotions. So I was actually going to fall for someone that I actually was no good for me at all, no good. So because I was able to establish my own expectations for my life, I knew what I wanted. I actually created a list I created a list of what I wanted in a man, and what I wanted in a person that I wanted to marry. I actually created a list. So I had an outline, a visual about, what I wanted. And so, of course, everything is going to be in there, but the most important things were there. So, like, I wanted him to be, of course, know God and live for God, of course. And there was amongst other things. I didn't want him to have any children. I want our children to be the first ones. Of course, this doesn't apply to everybody. And there were some things that were they were set in stone. There were some things that I can accept. But I made a list. And so because I made that list and I was committed to myself and committed to God, I was so lost in God. And when someone asked me, "You want to meet this guy?" and I'm just like, I'm not really interested in nobody right now. So
he was a minister.
Oh yeah, that too. And then when they said he was a minister, that kind of like, I was like,
I don't know why she was turned off, because she was a minister in training.
I was in training, but it was like they was talking about he's this, giving me all these titles and stuff, and I was like, he sound like he in there deep. Like, I don't need nobody too deep.
Church code, that's what it was.
Too deep where they can't, see what was really going on or whatever. But anyway, so I hope y'all follow me. I'm not talking all over the place. So I was caught up in God, and I had created a list, and I stuck to that list. That was my expectation, and that by me creating that list, that was a way of protecting myself, because I wasn't falling for those same old things over and over and over again. So I kind of had an outline, I had an idea of what I wanted. And before I met him, I was really angry with God, and I was just really, really angry. And I yelled and I screamed at God, I cried, and so I just kept, living for him in spite of that. And so, like, literally 2 weeks later, before I made that mistake of dealing with someone, I was introduced to my husband. And so during that time, it was kind of scary, like, because we kind of connected really fast. And what that consisted of is that, we kind of engaged on Facebook first, and then we, gave each other our numbers and stuff. But
you remember all that?
Yeah, I remember. You don't remember nothing. But so we engaged on Facebook first, and then so we started talking, clowning around. We would have long conversations, and we met in the BJ's parking lot after I came back from Fayetteville. It was really hot that day too, by the way. It was about June or July. And so anything you want to say?
As far as what?
I'll just let you interject. But so we connected, and from there, when I saw him, I was like, I don't know if I'm interested in him. And so don't let the eyes fool y'all. Just because you're not interested in what you're seeing, that doesn't mean, it's this person's a bad person. Because had I not got to know this guy, I may have not been able to be in such a great relationship now.
She wouldn't be as blessed as she is.
So
she was scared of this Mr. Goodbye. 35% extra chocolate.
Keep it.
I was all this chocolate.
You're silly. Anyways, so we so I didn't focus on the looks. Well, he was the same way. I ain't gonna tell your story.
Even though you tried to.
Go ahead.
Where you want me to start at?
When you met me.
When I met Portia, let's just say that we probably were in the same place, that I was not really interested in dating anybody. I had probably been in, it had been about a year since I had been in an actual relationship. And when I say this, like, I was turned off from dating anybody. I'm not saying that I didn't want a woman. I was saying that I had no desire to date a woman, be dating anybody, be connected with nobody at all, because the relationship that I was in was just so horrific. And then lies that were being told. And what makes it so bad is that I was dating somebody and we were in the same church. And then it got to the point of where I no longer wanted to be with them, is that, all these lies started coming up, saying this, that, and about me and the other. Then people that, we knew mutually started, turning against me, like, how people just kind of start acting different. So it's like, well, my family and my friends, I'm telling them, both sides of, the story of what happened with how I felt, how she felt, and everybody was, you know, still cordial, still nice, but it seemed like everybody on her part had really, whatever she was telling them had turned on me. And, you know, not to be too spiritual about it, but God did show me in a vision that she was saying negative things about me. And it's crazy how he showed it to me, because what she had on in the dream that day when I saw her, she had the same thing on, and I had never seen her with that on. But long story short, I spent that whole year just focused on God, focused on ministry. I wasn't interested in dating anybody. I wasn't looking to be with anybody. I was just saying, you know what, God, I'm just going to dedicate myself to you. I'm going to stay focused on you. And even in that year of being single and spending time with the Lord and really gaining a closer relationship with him, God had to reveal a lot of things in me about myself. He had to reveal to me about who Demetrius was, my attitude, how I was as a man, how I was looking for somebody. And one thing that he let me know is that he said, you're so busy looking for that woman through your eyes, but you have to look through my eyes. And that's when like a light bulb went off, and I was like, wow, you know, that really makes sense, because when we're looking for somebody, we're always looking for what our guidelines should be, or what we want in that person. Like my interest was, I wanted a woman that was light skinned with green eyes and long hair, Coke bottle shape. I mean, you know, green eyes just set me off right there. But
this is enough.
But that was something that God had to let me know. It was like, oh, homeboy, you looking for the wrong things. And I had this idea of who I wanted to be, and they got something that when we met was that I was not interested at all. We both were interested in each other, because I had no desire to even be dating anybody or trying to be in a relationship with anybody. But it just seemed that the more that I sure was. But it seemed like the more that we became friends, is that the closer we got. And I remember this. I do remember, is that I did pray to God. I said, God, if she's not for me, I want you to move her out of my life, because I've gotten to the place of like, I'm just not going to waste my time. I'm the type of man that I'm not going to waste my time nor my money taking you out to eat, entertaining you. And I mean, like, honestly, thinking about today, I kind of started remembering that there were other women that were interested in me, that were older. I like older women. I got my cougar right here. Let me stop.
I'm not that older than you.
10 months, but I still joke with her and say she a cougar.
Exactly.
I say she a cougar. And there were things just about them that I just up front told them that I just was not interested in them. And it wasn't because they were ugly. It wasn't because they didn't have their stuff together, because there were women that, I mean, had good careers. They owned their own homes, had, you know, the whole package, but they were just not someone that I didn't want to lead them on and have, you know, in a sense, another bitter woman because of a man that played with their emotions. So by the time that me and her got together, it was like, God, I prayed, like, if she's not for me, move her out of my life. And we got closer and closer and closer and closer.
Really
like
fast.
Yeah, like it was really it was really weird, because like after 6 months, I was like, I'm not bored with you. Like, I was still interested. Like, that's kind of the thing. After 6 months, I get bored with somebody very quickly.
You still ain't bored.
Yeah, I ain't bored. Still smiling. Still Jimmy. See my neck? It's coming through.
Hey, anywho, so, I mean, once we realized that like when I say that things went fast, like June we met, July we started dating, September we
were dating.
July. I'm sorry. July we put a title to it. We were together, and September we like took our first trip together. Yeah, it was Florida. Yeah, stop. We took our first trip together, and like I think it was like maybe by December we was looking for venues and stuff for our wedding.
We weren't even engaged.
Yeah, we weren't even engaged yet, and so we were looking for venues and shortly after looking for rings. And the next year, that was 2011, and in April we got engaged. April 2011 we got engaged, and in No.
October. We got married.
Something happened. It was a lot of stuff happened in May that year.
We got married in October.
We got married in October of the same year that we got engaged. So everything went really, really fast. I guess when, God, and then God just speeds things up.
Let me elaborate on that. Okay. When she said, like, when you know, that I knew probably within a few months that she was actually the one that I wanted to marry, that I wanted to be with. And it wasn't like I got to think about it, or, it ain't no, I'm going to date you 10 years and then I decide now it's time to get married. A man knows, like, women, don't believe that hype. A man knows if he wants to be with you or not. Now, he may be scared to commit, but a man knows if he wants to truly be with you for the rest of his life, if he wants to marry you. Don't believe all that, well, I don't know. And if anything, he knows, but he's scared to commit, and he's scared to take that step, because when you get married, or when you decide that you want to be married to somebody, like, that's the unknown, especially when you're coming from a family that does not have people that have been married or have had successful marriages. So coming from my family, and I'm speaking on my immediate family, that there was only marriage that I saw was my grandmother and grandfather, and there were other family that were married but they were divorced, or other family that was never, just, as you could say, probably common law marriage, just beating together for years. But a man knows. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, and as women too, like, you kind of get an idea of whether or not, we have to watch for those flags. I mean, there's red flags, and we got to keep our eyes open for them, and not keeping your guard up, but keeping your eyes out for them. And when you already have those expectations, like what you want out of a relationship, and you're communicating them, that's when you really know if that person is really there, for a committed relationship. And date intentionally, because if the person is on the same page as you, you don't waste any time. And so if you are dating intentionally and you've communicated from the beginning with grace that you don't want to be in anything that's not going to be serious, then you can already, cut that off at the door. You can already say that, okay, if you're not looking for what I'm looking for, just cut it off. So, and even down the road, if you see red flags, don't ignore them. Please don't ignore them. Because, if you ignore them, you try to, say, okay, well, this person is not, he ain't really using drugs, or he just ain't really wanting me for sex, or she's not really wanting, me for my money, But if you're having to ask yourself those questions, then that might be the case. So date intentionally and have your expectations in line, and don't ignore the red flags. So going forth, connecting with, someone special, and it's a hard thing to do when you're married to someone, or you're committed to someone, because marriage is a commitment. And when you get in a relationship and when you're dating intentionally, it is a commitment. So you're gonna have to learn to deal with things you wouldn't normally deal with. So even with maintaining that connection and in a relationship, a committed relationship, it takes compromise. There's a lot of things that you have to compromise with. Like, don't be mad for telling this, but he used to, might not be used to, but he used to leave his shoes in the kitchen at the table, and it drove me nuts. When we stayed in the first apartment, you leave your shoes.
You mean my apartment?
It was our apartment by then. So look,
that's because
at the table.
Okay, she had a problem. Because
you used to get undressed literally in the dining room.
Listen, I had my own place since I was 20 years old. I had just turned 20, within a few months. I've had my own place. So by the time I met her, it was 24, 25. So I'm accustomed to doing things my way. So I would kick all my shoes off at the door. It would be 20 pair of shoes at the door.
At the door?
At the door.
At the door?
At the door. Shoes at the door, and then I would just throw clothes all over the living room. They would be all on the chair. they would be hanging on maybe the kitchen table, but it was just me staying there. So, you know, come Saturday, I would clean it all up and do the same routine all over again. But for her, it was something that irritated and nagged. And I was like, I don't understand. How is it hurting you? How is it affecting you? Just maneuver around it.
So that took compromise, because you know you can't, especially when you're entering a new relationship, you can't change a person, and you should never enter a relationship thinking that you can, in hopes that you're thinking you can change a person, because that change only comes if the person desires to change. And it's hard to, you know, deal with and understand, but it takes, because you're committed to that person, you have to learn to compromise. It's very hard. Like, even now, like, every now we would fuss about like what places we want to go, and he'll always ask me, why don't you just, you know, make a decision and stuff. And I never realized that was his way of giving me like,
we go to the go somewhere to eat in the drive-thru. The food ain't changed.
Anyways.
And what do you want to eat? Wendy's ain't changed. Bojangles ain't changed.
So by him letting me make the decision, that was his way of compromising. And it took me a long time to realize that, but that was his way of compromising. And by me asking him, that was my way of compromising, with me not knowing that was his way of allowing me to make the decision, and have my way, so to speak. And so, but the only way we really knew that is because of communication. We really talked about, you know, things, which is, communication is very important. You never understand a person or where they are or how they feel unless you're communicating with them. And if you're not communicating, that
let me elaborate.
Go ahead.
Let me elaborate. And I'm going to elaborate on communication, because a lot of us truly don't know how to communicate, or let's just say this is it. When we communicate very differently. Is that she can communicate another way and I can communicate a different way, but to each other, it's not communication. Her way of communicating could be not, it could be foreign to me, and vice versa. I lost my train of thought. What I was talking about as far as communicating. People not knowing how to communicate. One thing you have to, that's my thought. One thing you have to remember when communicating with each other is that you cannot take it personal. You can't take everything personal, and that is something that I think we both have had to learn when being married, because you're two different people from two different worlds coming together. And when you communicate, is that if she expresses to me, it's about something about how she feels about a particular thing, or something that I've done, or something that I've said, or something that I'm lacking in doing, as far as our household or marriage, is that I can't take it personal. And that's where a lot of issues come in, where people aren't really communicating with each other, or they shut down, or they don't want to have anything to hear. They don't want to hear anything from that other person. Is because they take it personal. They take it as if it is an attack. And that was something that that I can, you know, was it a test for myself?
Yeah.
A test for myself. Yeah, she be helping me out, because, you know, I'm from the South Side. Yeah. And that was something that I had a big issue with, because it was like, oh God, here we go. What don't I do now? What? Okay. About to say, Time Warner better stop playing. That was the issue that, among other issues that we deal with, and something that I think early in our marriages that God had to deal with me. See, it pays to have the Holy Spirit, and I ain't trying to be churchy, but I'm real with
God. Is very important.
Yeah, very important. You have to keep him you have to keep him first, and you have to keep him in your marriage, because you have to have an ear to hear. You have to be able to come to God, and matter of fact, allow God to come to you and speak to you about yourself. And one thing that God brought to my attention is that I had to realize early in our marriage is that you're married, and are you going to spend the rest of your marriage being married to somebody and you're going to be miserable or unhappy, or are you going to make the best of this marriage? And that's something that I had to finally realize and say, you know what, I'm going to make the best of this marriage, because understand, marriage is not easy. Like, marriage is for mature people, however you want to say it. It's for mature people. You can't just jump into no marriage and think everything's going to be all peaches and cream. Y'all all happy. We're going to be traveling. We're going to be taking all these glamorous pictures on Facebook, showing all 50,000 teeth and all this other stuff. Like, it takes real work to be in a marriage, and you have to really have the Holy Spirit, and you have to compromise a lot. It may not be something that you're used to, compromising a lot, but you have to learn to compromise, and you can't be full of pride. That's one thing right there. And when you communicate, you have to be communicating on a level that will be respectable, and on a level that they will be able to hear you and you hear them. And you can't have a cold heart and be shut off. Like, your marriage is not going to be successful, and your marriage cannot be one-sided. It goes both ways. So you can't expect your partner to always do this, give you this, but you're not fulfilling their needs as well. My thing is that whoever you are married to, they're not going to do everything you want them to do 100% of the time. Let me let you know that now. If you are married and dealing with it, or if you're about to get married, or if you are not married yet, whoever you're married to, your husband, your wife, is not going to do everything that you want all the time. It's not going to always be done the way that you want it to do. So what you need to learn to do is learn to love them in spite of. The Bible tells us that love covers a multitude of sin. No matter whatever it is, you have to learn to love them. I've had to learn to love her for her flaws. She's had to learn to love me for my craziness. She's had to learn to love me.
Well, I want to go back and say this, just for relationships in general, like, communication is important, because if you're not communicating with each other at the beginning of any relationship, then you're living in a fantasy world in your head, that you have these wild and crazy expectations for someone that you didn't even communicate with them about. Like, you expect this person is going to be here and they're ready for a relationship within the first year, and you planning, up there on Pinterest and planning your whole wedding out, and what?
Keep talking.
So,
we'll get back to that. I told you about saying you gotta stay focused. I've been telling her since she's been doing these videos, she needs to stay focused. I walk by,
but
and
that caught my attention.
And she be like, stay focused.
Stop. Okay. Anyway, so going back, let's say relationships in general, communication is important, because you can be on, like I said, Pinterest, planning your whole wedding, and this person is not even ready to get married. They love you, but they're wanting to be with you, but you're planning your whole marriage, and you haven't communicated with this person that, this is what you want. Maybe this person is going to take a little longer. That way you can make a decision and not invest yourself from the beginning, or even within the first month or two. Just if you want to be invested with someone who's not ready to get married as soon as you are. And so, like, communication is very important, not just getting married in general, but, whether it is that y'all, what are your plans for your relationship in general? So you have to communicate with that person. Being faithful. So when I decided I was going to be in a relationship with him, I said that I was only going to be in a relationship with him. I wasn't going to be looking at anybody else. Even though, you see some eye candy every now and then, you can look but don't touch. Don't act like you don't see somebody to catch your eye either. But anyway, so I made up in my mind that I was only going to be with him, and I wasn't going to be with anybody else, and that's the commitment part. I committed myself to that relationship. Even before we were married, I committed to just being with him. So being faithful, like, keep your eyes and hands and body parts away from other people if you're going to be with somebody, because then you'll create an atmosphere for there to be commitment. So when you do that, you're not creating confusion in your relationship. You two have an idea what you want, and what the expectation is. And so the third thing I was going to say is accept the person for where they are. Because if you have an expectation that this person is going to change, or he going to be this, she going to be that, then you're setting yourself up for failure. So you have to accept that person for where they are. And if you really want to be with that person, then you will wait it out. You know, the Bible says love is patient, love is kind. So patience. Patience is making sure that, you know, patience is having that the ability to be okay with, you know, just waiting for that person to get to where they're going to be eventually. And you be kind towards them in that process.
Can I give my feedback on that?
Uh-huh.
When you're learning to, what was you say that, do that again?
Well, love is patient, love is kind.
About what was the last
accept
time?
the person where they
are.
are.
Oh yeah, y'all have to forgive me because I have like auto timer. Like I just mute out on anybody. Like I be like, huh? It's a learned behavior. But when you're being patient with somebody, or when you're learning to love somebody, or my thing is what she said is that you can't change a person. What do they say? You can't change a person. Don't try to do that, because one thing that's going to happen is that the person is going to start resenting you. And that is a major thing that will happen. What we're talking about is not anything that we read in a book, not something we've been to some marriage seminar and overheard. No, we're telling you our true life story of being married in October this year, will be 5 years, being together 6 years. Is that everything that we're talking to you is about things that we have gone through and that we have overcame. And one thing you don't want is you don't want your spouse to resent you, because that's one thing that it really will cause bitterness in a marriage. You can't change a person. You can't make a person change. The person is not your child. The person is not your toy, not your pet. You have to be patient with them. If they on the slow bus, let them be on the slow bus. If it takes them 5 minutes, 5 months, 5 years, 50 years, if they on the slow bus, let them be on the slow bus. Accept them for the place that they are in, because one thing you have to do is you have to learn to go to God, and you have to go to God in prayer and ask God to do what He needs them to, ask Him to do what He needs to do in them, and allow God to make those changes in that individual. Because when God touches their heart, or touches their mind, touches their spirit, and then He begins to make that change in them, the change will be necessary for the time and the place that you are in. It's not going to be a forced change, because if you make somebody change based upon what you want them to do, then the person is not going to do it with the right heart or with the right spirit. They're going to do it with resentment in their heart, and then it's not going to be from a genuine place. One thing about me is that anything that I do is that I'm a genuine person. If I say that I truly love you, that means that I love you. And one thing I think that I had to get kind of used to was just her lovey-dovey self, and I'm like, I ain't into all that. Like, I love you, but, you know, all that kissy face and, ooh, let's cut and all that. I be like, ho, you know, all that touchy stuff. It was like, you got to calm that down. But it was not saying I neglected her with physical touch. It was just saying that how she expressed love was not the way that I did. And so it's something that we've learned together, and something that I've gotten better doing is that, okay, it's not a foreign thing to me now. So it's that, okay, I enjoy doing that, you know, expressing love with her. Like, oh, you know, I joke with her like, oh, you ain't kissed me all day, even though, you know, I ain't seen her since I went to work that morning or whatever, and I don't see her till that afternoon when she gets home.
You stole that from me.
What?
You ain't kissed me all
day. You ain't kissed me all day. Give me some love.
Yeah, you done slacked up on kissing me in the morning before you go to work.
I got to clock in at 6 o'clock. I be going down 40, busting it. But just learn to accept the person for who they are. Because my thing is that who they showed you they were before they got married, before y'all got married, or before y'all got together, is who they gonna be. Like, I just believe that there are some people that hide things, but I believe that you have enough sense, you have enough discernment in you, whether you know what that is, to know that there's something else. And then you have people around you that are going to see. Like, let me elaborate on this, is that when I was dating somebody, my previous person, the previous person I was with, is that nobody liked them. Like, I've had family members that did not like her at all. and they expressed that, and then it was kind of to the point that we were considering possibly getting married. And I mean, I literally had, family members like calling me saying, I was asleep, and I just want to let you know, don't marry that girl. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but this, that, and the other. And then when when she came along, and then I introduced her to my family, and only reason why my family found out that I was dating her is because my mama went telling everybody, because I was coming from seeing her one day, and my mama called me and was asking me what I was doing. I said I was coming from Durham, and she was like, who you out seeing, some female? And I was like, well, that ain't none of your business. I joke with my mother like that. Next thing I know, everybody know I'm dating somebody. Like, we were dating for months before anybody even knew that we were dating at all. But back to what I was saying is that when I brought her around my family, like, there's family members that I know for a fact that we're all the same, that we got to feel you out before we can really say that, okay, we like you. Like, my family really loved her when they first met her. They was like, oh, you're so beautiful. Like, they really took a hold of her. So that's how I knew that she was the one. Because one thing you have to do is take whoever you with around your family. A woman knows a woman, and a man knows a man. Like, that's the key nugget right there. Write that down. A man knows a man, and a woman definitely gonna know a woman, and they gonna know what they all about. And one thing, this is what I also say: if you dating somebody and you don't like their mama, it ain't gonna work. Cause last girl I dated, I did not like her mama, and you see who I'm married to, who I'm sitting beside. Mm-hmm. I love my Pauline. Hey, Miss Pauline, I lay girl. But that's just what I wanted to say. Just don't try to change a person. Accept them for who they are, because they're learning to accept you for who you are, and allow God to do the work in them and in you as well.
Yeah, that's very important. Don't set yourself up by.
You didn't tell me to kiss you.
My mama told you too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Really?
Give her another cash.
So, yeah, don't set yourself up for failure by trying to make a person what you want them to be, because you're wasting time. Who's down for wasting time? Especially when you get older. Time flies by so fast.
Or your money.
It's ridiculous.
Or your money.
Yeah, you don't waste your money either. It's not worth it.
I won't take you out to eat. I won't interested. No.
So, don't waste your time. Like, time is so important. Because when you invest your time in somebody, you invested your life into somebody. So when by investing your time in someone, you're giving yourself up to that person. And if they're not worth it, they're not, it's not worth your time to give to them. If they're not someone that you're interested in, completely. So accept the person that you want. So we talked about communication, and communication is so important. When I say communication is so important, it's important. Really important. Like, if you're not having conversations with somebody you really care about, then y'all not on the same page. And even if, like, y'all don't agree on some things, then you have to, that's something you just really have to pray about, and just move on. Because if you stay caught up in it, your life is miserable. Like, honestly, when we get into it sometimes, like, I have to talk about it, because I can't deal with just sitting around and this madness and stuff going on.
I ain't talking to her for 2 or 3 days.
Right. I can't do that. See, I don't do that.
And that's something we've gotten better with, is that she wants to talk about it right then and right there. And I've actually gotten better with that, because, like I said, we've come from 2 different sides of the track. When I'm mad about something, I tell her I don't want to talk about it right now, because, and I'm trying not to be like where I come from, if that makes sense, is that I get real, I say I'm loose at the mouth. How about I just say that I'm very loose at the mouth. So one thing that I know is that you can't just say anything out of your mouth and think that you can just say I'm sorry, and that takes back what you said, because words really do hurt. And one thing that I don't want to do is, for lack of a better word, I don't want to treat her like no nigga in the street, because that's not who she is. She's my wife. And so when I'm mad about something, or when we've had an argument, I just have to just be like, look, I need you to leave me alone, because I don't want to click out, and then I done said all kind of things to her, and then went to cussing and call her all out her name, and then flipped out. I just try not to do that. So
And for a little while, I'll be quiet. If you leave, I'll be talking again. No, I'm just joking. So,
but let me finish.
Go ahead.
So, but I've gotten better about, okay, let me just listen and let her talk, and then allow me to articulate how I feel and not be mad. Well, I still am mad, or I still am mad, but I've gotten better with controlling the level of anger, because when I just joke with people, to be like, look, I got Rottweiler blood in my family. Like, when we get turned up, we get mad, we goes in like, we savages. Like, our mouth is just reckless. So one thing I just try to do is like, okay, I just be like, leave me alone. And you have to understand whoever you're with, understand their levels. Is that if they're not a person that likes to communicate when they're mad, respect that. You can't just be like, well, why don't you want to talk? And we need to talk about this. Respect that, because you don't know. There's certain things in our lifestyles that we come from, or places that we come from, or things that we've been exposed to in our environment that necessarily that we may not always talk about, or things that we've been exposed to that we might necessarily talk about. And there's only certain things, for example, is that certain things people can do or say to me, and it doesn't get under my skin. But she is probably like the only person that can really do something that, I mean, like, literally gets under my skin and makes me very livid. But that's because I'm vulnerable to her and I'm very open to her. So you have to understand is that you touch areas in certain particular people's lives that nobody else can touch. So you have to be careful on how you handle that, because you can mishandle a person. And that's why I believe how people, you see, like, there's domestic violence in relationships and in marriages, or, you know, something happens and somebody blanks out and hurts or even kills that person, and they're like, I don't know what happened to me. You have to understand that there are levels in people that nobody else can touch, but for some reason when you're vulnerable with a person, that you touch those levels of craziness, or whatever you want to call it. But just be mindful and respect that other person, respect their, you know, who they are. If they're not a person that communicates, respect that. You can't force them to do something that you want, because you're only going to do, only thing you're going to do is you're going to keep causing issues, and you're going to cause damage. And when it's damage, I mean, it's hard to repair. Like, it's easy, it's quick. You can damage something quickly, but it'll take probably years or something to repair.
Certainly. Yeah, and you know, domestic violence is no joke. So if I'm gonna go to that, because, you know, if you're in a relationship where you feel like you're being harmed emotionally, and, you know, that's, if emotionally it's saying that you people calling you names, you know, damaging your spirit, and like, you always feel sad and down when you're around that person, because they're causing you so much grief emotionally. They always tell you, call you names, tell you you're nothing, there's nothing you can do with your life. That's an emotional abuse. And so if you're in that kind of situation, I encourage you to, it's not easy to get out of. And, you know, of course, physical abuse is natural, and sexual abuse too is something that is, even if you're in a relationship and you tell your spouse no, or you tell that person you with no, you know, that's still abuse. So, and if you're experiencing those things, if you're experiencing emotional abuse where someone is damaging you emotionally, or physically or sexually, get out of those relationships. It's very hard, but there are numbers that you can call. And if you are in those type of relationship, I know some resources. Inbox me, and I can help you with that. But you know, don't take, you know, the emotional part, the abuse that's going on. I know it might be a sensitive subject for most, because it's definitely one for me. Yes, so
you don't have to go through that. And I tell anybody that you don't have to be in a domestic relationship. I don't care how much they tell me they love you, and this and that. I actually had somebody disclose to me, somebody that they were dating off and on again, and they were saying, you know how people, when they get very reared up, that they tell stuff they wouldn't tell anybody, and you kind of like, oh wow. And the individual told me, you know, about somebody they were dating, and they were saying, oh, well, this, that, and the other, and when you went up, they went upside my head this time and this time, and I'm like, oh, they went upside your head. My thing is this: is that I feel like if we can't communicate without putting our hands on each other, we don't need to be together. Like me and her, we joke sometimes, and she be like, "Ooh, I just want to slap you," and I tell her, I said, "And I'm sending your tail back to Fayetteville, where you came from." She talking about, "You ain't find me in Fayette."
Right.
I said, "But you going back there because you getting up out of here."
Yeah, we joke about it, but we don't actually do it. So I mean, it's naturally.
She be slapping me.
Yeah, I give my little taps in, but
she say, "Put the seat down, or I'm gonna put you down."
Shut up. Anyways, so back to the seriousness of this. You don't have to be in any harmful relationships. So if you're in those relationships, that's not love at all. It's not. When it goes back to communication, what's most important too in communicating effectively is listening. Listening doesn't mean, which is something that I listen to him, but I do try to make sure I understand what he's saying and getting his point across. And it's something that I have to work on. I have to work on, like, I'm writing notes so I don't interrupt him, because I have a habit of interrupting because I forget things. And so, like, when things come to me, I have to get them out. Otherwise, I'll forget them. So I remember that notepad I said I was going to keep, because I knew this day was coming. So, I'll keep notes. I have to write things down so I don't interrupt him. But listening is important. And then when you listen to that person, especially when you get in arguments and stuff, take time to listen, and let that person express their side. And when your time comes, you can express yours. But try to understand, like, when you're listening, you're understanding. That those two kind of go together. Like, you're listening and you're understanding with that person. Yeah, and don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal.
Right, some Monica songs. So don't take it personal, and just keep the communication going. Like, even if you feel like it's gonna hurt that person, whatever you have to say to them, y'all have to have an understanding that we're gonna talk about some things that are gonna hurt. They're gonna sting sometimes. Excuse me. But like I mentioned before, my husband and I, we have a truth moment.
We ain't had that in a while.
Yeah, we haven't had it in a while. Like, I've joked with it, just to kind of get his emotions riled up. But we have the, what are you doing?
I'm just
talking to the Lord. He knows what that means. We both know what it means when we say truth moment.
Like, here we go again.
So he knows, like, the seriousness of a truth moment. And that truth moment is when we want to talk about something serious, and it may hurt that person's feeling, but it's how you feel at that moment, and then I've taken time to think about what I wanted to say, and it's an opportunity for us to communicate about sensitive topics. So,
and remember, the Bible tells us offenses will occur. Will be offenses. Things are going to happen in your relationship, in your marriage, that you will be offended. It's the Bible. That's word. It tells us that. But one thing we have to learn to do is we have to learn to continually be open and continually to be vessels, as the Bible tells us, iron sharpens iron. So that means that we're there to edify each other. We're there to improve each other. We're there to help each other grow and pull up those weeds in our lives, because there are things in her that I have to minister to her about herself, and she's got, oh, you're so beautiful. Look at you, you're so beautiful, and and
you talking about me being distracted.
You're so beautiful.
It's okay, but it's distracted by my beauty.
But there's things in her that I've had to minister or talk to her about that has helped her be a better person, and things in me that in her that has helped me be a better person. For example, her compassionate and her love has helped me to be a word I can say is a much softer person, because I'm just straight cutthroat. I'm very raw, and when I'm done with somebody, I'm done with you. Like, it's no talking about it. Like, that's just it. I don't care no more. And she's had to help me. And actually, I was talking to somebody the other day about how, you know, just that we have a lot of similarities. And I had brought something up to them that she brought up to me. She may not remember, it was a long time ago. And she said to me was that you can't just keep cutting people off and not dealing with them. She said, what's going to happen when I make you mad and offend you? Are you going to cut me off and I'm your wife? And it was like a light bulb went off. I was like, well, you know, that is true. So with her, she's helped me to be a lot more compassionate as a person and be more open to different things and understand that everybody's not me. And my biggest pet peeve is that I have an issue with people that lack common sense. And so she's just kind of helped me to be a better person in that, and being more compassionate and more loving. And I've helped her to be a little bit more stern with certain things and not, you know, deal with certain people, because I know game when I see it. So when it's certain particular people that try, right, I say that's game right there. And I said that what you're not going to do is that. So we've really helped each other be better in who we are. So, you know.
Yeah, because I'm really compassionate for people, and I you know, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt until you prove me wrong. And even still, I try to give you a little leeway, you know, give you the benefit of the doubt. But he's helped me a lot with, like, you know, knowing when people are trying to use me or trying to, you know, get over on me and use me for certain relationships.
Yeah, I don't play that.
You know, so we balance each other out. Right?
Because that chair hurt my arm.
So I mean, we balance each other out, and because of that, we can receive.
She said, "You are too nice." She is. I feel like I don't care.
But I draw people to me with my niceness. That way, I can be able to tell them things that some people will be able to tell them.
Some people, I think, people try to play on her niceness and her willing to give her service or time. People play on that. And one thing about me is that I ain't having it, and I call it out straight like it is. Like, and my thing is that people like me because I'm very raw and I'm very truthful, and then there's other people that don't like me because I call them out on their mess. And it is what it is. Is one thing I do is I live a truthful life, and who we're connected with, we're going to be connected with genuine people, and we're going to be connected with people that we edify each other, but we edify them and they edify us. So it's not, no, you just take from us,
right,
and then we get nothing from you. Is that when we're in need of something, we can't never get the same back, but right, when you're in need or when you wanted something, we're there on hand. We drop everything to be there for you or give you what you need. But, you know, you turn around and just give us a short end of the stick, and that's one thing I don't play.
Yeah, I mean, people definitely take my kindness for weakness at times. However, I pray those people away. Like, I peep game, and I'll keep my distance from them. And, you know,
I call them demons out. Call a demon a demon. Call a thing a thing.
He was a mess. Anyway, so we we do compliment each other, and then sometimes things ting. You know, so we compliment each other, but that's only because we accept what each other has to say about each other. I was the same way. Yeah, I mean, but I believe me, I've grown a lot since then.
I was doing the freeze.
Really,
the FaceTime freeze, like.
I've grown a lot since then. Like, you know, people eventually distance themselves from me because I will tell people, you know, how I feel, and they'll get gone. I mean, and then there's sometimes that
I ain't sorry.
And I just start telling people no. Sorry. Like, I value my time a lot more now, especially since I'm, you know, doing so much. But when I can't do something, I quickly tell people no, no, it's not gonna work. And then I have people who always try to keep me on their purse string and try to have me there when they need me. And then
one thing about me is that she's learned is that if we say we're gonna do something and I have a change of heart, well, we're not gonna do that, or we're not gonna commit to that. And she'll be like, well, we committed this. I don't care. It's my time. It's my life. If I say I don't want to do something or go where we're planning to do with whoever, if I have a change of heart, that's me. I can do what I want. And she's learned to do that. She's like, if we don't feel like doing something and we said we were going to do this or commit to this, if we don't feel like it, we're not going to do it. That's my life. I'm not obligated to nobody but God and her.
So, yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say?
As far as what?
So, I mean, just understanding each other is very important, and being able to grow with each other is important. So, if you can't grow with each other, then you can't be together. Can't accept what the other person has to say, you can't be together.
Well, you can be together, but you just not gonna grow. Y'all gonna be weeds.
Yeah.
Miserable.
Very much so.
Everything you touch, don't nobody want to see y'all coming, but they be glad to see you going.
Yeah, that's true. Because we've been around like some couples that they were like weeds together because they were just arguing all the time, and it's always something. But I mean, it's you know, we plant our seeds when we're with them, and we do what we can do and keep on moving. But what's that fake smile for? Most importantly, when you're in a relationship, you gotta stay committed. You know, you go through a lot of things, and
why you keep hitting my man chest?
You go through a lot of things in relationships, and if you're not committed, you're gonna easily fade out, and you're not gonna want to be with each other. But if you're committed to something, a relationship goes, it's like a bell curve, up and down, up and down. Keep
like a roller coaster drop.
So I mean, if you're not down for the ride, then relationships aren't for you. I mean, because it's a ride. Like, we can be good for a good week or two, maybe even a day, and we're at it again, and we work it out.
We've gotten better. We haven't really,
we've gotten a lot better.
Haven't really had any major. Well, we had a major argument like a few months ago, maybe a month ago. But I mean, like, it's rare. Like it's minimal. Like, we went from like arguing all the time, like always a dispute, to like, you know, it's here today, gone tomorrow. Like, it's whatever. We back to our regular stuff. And that's the main thing that I say is that if you're gonna be with somebody in a sense that is your best friend, because it's that even though when I be PO'd with her, I'm talking about mad, pissy mad, like pamper, cheap Family Dollar pamper mad.
Oh, with the stuff coming out.
where they be so mad they bust the pepper out at the bottom. Be mad with her. It's like, but on the inside, it's like I can't stay mad with her. Like, I can't have those hard feelings towards her because I truly do love her, and this is a level of love that I've never really experienced. So it's like, I've learned to become vulnerable with her, and I've learned to become open with her. So with me being mad or whatever, it's like, whatever. Here today, gone tomorrow. It's like, okay, you want some Chipotle?
What?
Want some Chipotle? Want to go to Zoe's Kitchen? Golden Corral.
So we definitely had to, you know, our communication has brought us together, and we've grown a lot together tremendously because our commitment together, and we've committed to each other, and we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere.
We ain't going nowhere because we still got this lease, and
What? Shut up! You make me sick.
95% of the stuff in here, you know. Okay.
Anyways, so we're committed to each other, and that's what's important, because if you're not, it's not gonna work. And it was something I was gonna say, and I forgot what it was. I didn't write it down.
That's
well,
right.
Mine, you can't see out of mine.
That's right, Pauline. What? No, because you blind as a bat.
Shut up. Anyway, so, you know, it's important. I think we're going to end it because we're over an hour. And so...
And I need to watch Love and Hip Hop, too.
At your TV. So, if y'all have any questions, feel free to contact us on our inbox, through our Facebook page, excuse me. If you want to book a free consultation for coaching, whether it be family life or, you know,
spiritual,
individual or spiritual coaching, let us know. You can go to our website. It's www.dpghealthwellness.com and book a session. It's free consult, and we can get you started from there. I enjoy the conversation. I enjoy y'all comments and jokes. So
You need some stronger glasses?
no, the way it's tilted a certain way. So if you need anything and you have challenges, stop. Just let me know. Visit our website. Again, it's www.thepghealthwellness.com. It should be on the video too. And you can just book your section. And if you just want some support in some way, still contact me through there. And that's about it.
Connect, qualify, and commit.
You all have a great night. Thank you for joining us week after week. I will probably continue these sessions again. There's some other things that God has given me, so look out for it. I'll be posting, so just continue to support us. Share this video. Forgot to put that up.
Make it public.
Share this video.
Make it public so they can share it.
I thought I made it public.
Well,
but so share this video. Somebody out there may need to hear what we have to say tonight. Hey
Nisa. I'm sorry.
Loud.
That's my girl. That's my sister right there. Hey, Nisa.
Oh my gosh. So share this video because somebody may need to hear this. Y'all, we love y'all. Have a good night.
And following.
Love, peace, and soul.
What's that from Soul Train?
Yeah.
I ain't never watched that all the way to the end.
All right, y'all have a great night.
Hello.